Welcome to Good Earners reviewing The Sopranos. If y'all are new here, welcome to this show. If y'all been here before, y'all know how we give it up. Before I get into our style of reviewing The Sopranos, first and foremost, rest in peace to James Gandolfini.
Yeah,
It
today was
don't
the
matter.
anniversary, man.
It's the anniversary. By the time y'all hear this, it may have passed, but we will not. I had to make post about this because this man has really brought some memories and some smiles in my household, and I'm thankful for his work and his life being on display in a fashion through his art. So rest in peace, James Gandolfini. Thank you for your contribution, not only for this show but the effect that you've had in people's lives in a positive way. Um, but here on Good Earners, we're reviewing The Sopranos, but we do it a little different. We like to focus on family, finessing, finances, and feelings in the world of Tony Soprano, bringing you a new perspective, a fly perspective, and most importantly, a black perspective. This week, what are we reviewing, Spike Lou?
This week it is season 2, episode 7, entitled D Girl. In this episode of D Girl, AJ has a confirmation coming up, but questions what it all means leading up to the event. Big Pussy is getting pressure to start coming up with useful information, and that stresses him out. And Christopher gets a taste of the Hollywood lifestyle, but it doesn't seem to really fit his palate. This is season 2, episode 7, D Girl.
Yes, sir. So our first scene, AJ driving with his, stole the car. We find out later. He pulls out and he ends up hitting the side of a landscaping truck and pretty much knocks the mirror off. This is a really small scene. Maybe it's just more of a call to what's going to happen. But Rich, what did you take anything from this scene, or I mean, it was
Nothing special other than AJ on some trash. Like AJ on pure unadulterated trash, like stealing because AJ's what, 13 at this point?
14, right? Something.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Stealing the bins.
And with people though, like not even I'm just
With
steal
people,
the whip,
yeah, like
go dolo. Like let's have a car ride. Like nigga, what? Is you
yeah,
fucking
it just lets you,
serious, bro?
bro.
Yeah, AJ lives in his own world. He has no, there's no sense of consequence to him. Like it's all just one big. I mean, we see that as throughout this episode with him, but part of it is him being 13, 14. The other part is just being like, bro, what you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, what you want?
What you want?
Facts. I think this may have been the start of the AJ that we grew to see at the end, right? Like he started quoting Nietzsche and all of this shit, and Tony is looking at this nigga like, bro, what are you talking about? I think this was them opening a can of worms because we had talked about it here before. Like, what the fuck is AJ even doing? What's your purpose here, bro? And this episode, I think we start to see the purpose of what he's there for and his role play out throughout the series. This was it.
Yeah. As we go to the next scene, I think that in a way, you saying that kind of gives us the two sides of Tony if we look through the spectrum of his kids. The sharp, intact, focus, can get anything done, Meadow. But then we see the other side, AJ, questioning everything all the time. Not fully
no drive, no motivation.
yeah, not being sure of anything. So it's crazy when you see both the kids represent both sides of Tony, and then they kind of blend. We'll see throughout this episode and even throughout the series. But we pan over to Adriana and Christopher. They in the club. You know what I'm saying? About to get their body rock on, and he meets with his cousin Greg and his fiance Amy. They're having a little small talk about Hollywood and the business, and they're just having small talk. And Amy is talking on first name basis about these people in Hollywood. My question to y'all is this Amy chick, is she capping about knowing these people on a first name basis?
I didn't get that from
like
her. Yeah,
yeah,
she actually knew John
Favreau,
Favreau.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she actually she is a VP as we find out, later in the episode. So she's pretty connected. I think she actually knows these people.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all believe that?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You didn't? Why didn't you? You didn't believe it?
Nah, I didn't, honestly.
What was giving you cap about it?
Because the way she was moving, I get the thrill of what's going on when we get there. As far as this is a thug, I get the thrill. But it was just
Nah,
like,
before you even get to that though, like right here at the restaurant scene, like is she saying
Oh.
these names? You ain't picking up like she might be important?
nah, not at all. Because it's like she kind of the way. Okay, let me pull up some of the things she said here, because she was saying like, oh yeah, oh no, not that movie, the other one. Oh yeah, with John, and she was just, I was just like, even when we get to the scene where they're shooting the film, how she jumps in real quick, but then he kind of cuts her off. Like, it's like she not really who she's saying she is, but she can look down on Christopher because look at you. You know what I'm saying? That's how I've always interpreted this, but maybe that's what we have the glorified crew here for. Maybe I can change my opinion or my viewpoint on what it is. But right here, what do y'all gather outside of just Amy, but in this scene right here, this setup?
I was wondering, was Chris gonna fuck her? That's what I was wondering. Yes, I was wondering, was Chris gonna fuck her? I seen how she looked at him.
Oh
man, he
man,
did a thing with the Wall Street dude, and this is his cousin. So I remember every season that I've watched and rewatched this, that I try to like, I wonder, like, did he pick up on something then, or was it later on? But that's what I was wondering in this first meeting with her. I didn't pick up Cap from her. She seemed like, and Adriana mentioned in the next scene when he said she was dressed like whatever it may be. She was like, man, that was Prada. Like, it was a different swag from what usually the ladies on here have.
And a lot of the back and forth from the ladies in regards to different men, you got Adriana talking about Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn, yeah.
You got her giving Chris the eyes. I'm like, man, all right, man, y'all overstepping some boundaries here. Hide your insecurities. You're insecure in yourself, man. It might be a rough night for you if you one of the fellas.
Yeah.
Also,
thanks.
One cool thing about this, and this was what makes Sopranos elite. In the pilot episode, the very first episode of Sopranos, Chris mentions that he has a cousin who dates a woman in Hollywood.
He showed.
Now, I don't think that they had this character mapped out, by the time we get to season 2, but I definitely think that they use their old work and study it and be like, oh yeah, remember we mentioned that? Let's see if we can build upon that. So that was a cool thing, just knowing that part. Obviously finding out what they're there for, and Chris handling his business.
Yeah. Chris came off good in this thing.
Yeah, he did. It was. I mean, she was like undressing this, like I mean, they zoomed in like she was undressing. I'm like, yo, you better chill out. You better chill out for real, because it's like, yo, you better chill out. But I thought it was even funnier too. Like, I think this might be some kind of stereotype, like some like bad. He called the dude that he had to check real quick. He called him Bridge and Tunnel Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I don't know. Is that a thing? Like Italians were known to build the bridges and tunnels in this country?
That's we in New York City. I know you ain't from Manhattan. I know you ain't from New York. Take your ass to that bridge and tunnel back to Jersey.
Under the bridge and the tunnel from Jersey.
Yeah. You a Jersey dude. You ain't from here.
Yeah.
Then he told him, chill out. I thought that was funny for this white dude. I'm like, that's hilarious. But this setup scene right here. But I lastly, I appreciate Adriana's support. Like, she's such a supportive girlfriend, and I felt bad for her. Like, I'm in the food industry. You tried to glam it up, and it just wasn't there. Like, oh man, I felt so bad for her. But
Adriana's supportive, but she wants to come up too.
Yeah,
she wants to come up too.
Yeah. So.
I ain't really realized how gullible she was until watching this now in this scene. Like, it's Adriana, she gullible as shit, but she is supportive too, like you said.
Yeah,
the fact that Chris is even able to get most of this shit off this episode lets you know how gullible Adriana is. Like, he shouldn't even be able to get this off.
I mean,
no,
bro. And I it's so weird because we talked about season 1 where it seemed like he wasn't really getting it in on the side like the rest of them with the Gumars, and even when they came up on that big come up, he went and got his girl and they went to an opera and they ate and got the burger in the hood. You know what I mean? We ain't never really get that. that idea really, like that his side chick was the drugs really. You know what I'm saying? So this was an interesting kind of piece right here to me. Like, you know, other than the later season, we'll see something like that. But we go over to Chris and Adriana. They at the crib, and you know, Adriana bigging her up, like have no idea, like bigging her up, talking about, man, she seems so down to earth for a Hollywood person. Like, oh man, she talking about her clothes, like Spike spoke about before. Can we please talk about how Adriana slayed right here, bro?
Smoke
this whole scene with the abs, dog. Come on,
she was in her bag right
bro,
here.
bro. And then we got the robe. Didn't close it. She didn't close the robe, bro. I was like, all right, chill out.
You know she had. She worked all off season for that moment.
Oh man,
well, that was prime Adriana right there.
Boy, come 100%. On. And I think it brings into perspective. I throw the ball in your court, Rich, but it brings into perspective. It's like you went over here for this and you got this at home. I think that kind of drives that point home. Not that Amy was a slight, because she was work too, in my opinion. But I think Adriana is just keeping in perspective, like even as bad as she is, a smokehouse, as Tony puts it, it still shows these mob guys and even guys in general how easy it is to just look over the fence and, you know, end up going after what you see. But what did you gather from this? There were some funny moments in here, but what you gather from this, Rich?
Yeah, some hilarious moments. It's interesting what you say about Chris, just because I think Chris got it in him to be, you know, have Gumars and all that, but Chris can't even put his one foot in front of the other. So everything about him is with convenience and circumstance. You know, that happened. If Chris had to pursue her, I think he would have got tired and would have been cool. I'm cool on this. Like, fuck it. I'm trying to get my screenplay going. That was just convenient. She was there. There was some familiarity. He picked up that she wanted to let him smash. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was intrigued. She played the Freddy game with him. That one-on-one time, that's what it was. So it says more about him than anything, because I don't think he has enough. I don't think he's focused enough to even to worry about finding Gumars. But overall, Chris's idea of just women, you know, talking about she dressed like the Addams Family, pretty much said you dress like the Monopoly Man, shit like that. Adriana saying that he should show the script to John. Yeah. Now we get to see, all right, Chris is really, you know, we see him throw the script and everything like that away, the screenplay. Now we see him actually trying to get back into this world. He's hesitant, but you know he's going to end up doing it. Some hilarious lines, man. One of the funniest lines in this episode, if not the funniest, when she mentioned to show the screenplay to John, because he used to be a writer, he said, "Swingers."
I was waiting.
Hey, you know, I try to I talk regular anyway, but if you're a Sopranos fan and you used to vulgar language, I'm just repeating what they saying.
Yeah.
But my man said swingers, he could suck my dick. That swings
too.
That shit makes me chuckle every single time because of Chris Montesante's delivery.
Yeah,
he meant that shit.
He meant it.
It was almost like it was ad-libbed, bro. Like you may not have even been in the script. Like,
yeah, man.
But I think one of the things I picked up from Mo, as you said a little bit earlier, I don't think that it was. I think that it was on purpose showing Adriana's body like this. Like Chris didn't have to go out looking for no another chick. He had a smoke show, as you said. I think one of the main themes of the episode, though, he was looking for another world, as we'll talk about with Tony and that scene with AJ later. Like, look, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes, bro. You need to decide what you want. I think this was showing, like, bro, he got a good life right here. It's just another life that's calling him that he think that he maybe could be more successful at or whatever it may be. But it goes to what you were saying, Rich. That's why he ain't as focused. Like, it's too, I can do this or I can do that, as opposed to just focusing on, I'm gonna do this. So
that's what I outside the lines. That's a big theme throughout the whole episode. You look at P and what he got going on. Yeah, like when you in that line of work, you cannot color outside the lines. Like these rules are strict. Even when it comes down to something as real simple as him telling them a story about some old maid dude that he knows about, and you know that little moment by the swing set. That ended up in a script that's literally life or death for Chris.
Life or death. And how could you even put yourself in a position, Tony looking at it like, Christopher, what the fuck? Like a screenplay? Like what? There is no juxtaposition that you could take to where this will be okay with us. Like the only reason that you ain't dead is probably because you my cousin or nephew or whatever.
Because he know he ain't making children's books.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know what you do. What the fuck?
You know, I know what you're talking about if you're writing a screenplay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I just think it's funny, and then just also just like the constant jab at swingers. He gonna keep jabbing at it like a little bit, like all little swingers, and then he keeps
the whole show.
Oh man, bro,
hilarious!
It's like it was little assness. Like, but we'll get there.
Hilarious, man.
But yeah, great scene. And I do like that he said he's trying to be a player now. So Chris, at least he's doing process of elimination. Okay, I don't really want to. The writing thing, it feel like it take too much time, even though I threw it away. But shouts out to Adriana for grabbing it. The acting thing is too vulnerable for me. Maybe I could get into some kind of producing or something here. So I like that he's doing process of elimination, but he's still in the wrong business. And that's where we finally going to come to a head when we get to the later scenes here. Finally, we get to the Soprano house, and Carmela starts the car, and the mirror falls off. And immediately,
even tell him. He just
this was crazy.
Oh, this is real. How real is that? How real is that? If they don't know, there's a crack in the picture on the wall. Come on.
But until you find it,
man, straight up. What did y'all think about this parenting scene?
Just the lack of overall knowledge that Tony and Carmela have of the world. Like they so in their bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's never been a point in time like we were talking about with AJ, like what's his purpose on the show. Metal always lets you know what her fucking purpose is. Like I am the cross between the real world and what the fuck y'all do. Like, no, this actually happens. What do you think education is? Like all of that from her was absolute fire in this scene. And I do like also like how Tony and Carmela just did not get it. They didn't understand what he was talking about. They didn't understand the angles they was going for. They didn't even understand that this is what that private school education that you're paying for, this is what it gets you. And they can't even deal with it. They used to, oh, your hard work, you be successful. Metal had a good ass line is thinking, oh, you think that being successful, whatever just means money. No, it means knowledge or whatever too. So that was a really good scene showing that how they had kind of outkicked their coverage as parents. They provided this lifestyle for their kids, but the learning and the kids that their kids are around, they weren't prepared to deal and teach that.
You said it perfectly. There's a gap. You know, getting an education back when they were in school did mean, you know, get smart enough to get a nice job and provide for your family. Now getting an education means something else. And I love their reactions. You know, it means looking at the depths of the earth and questioning everything and looking at all these philosophers. I love their reactions. You know, who taught you that? Where is this coming from? Is it from that teacher? It takes you back to 2000 because
I bet that teacher black. I bet that teacher that she named is black.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a fish out of water. Definitely a fish out of water. But that's how parents thought. You know, it's not as progressive as it is today. You know, back in 2000, that was a real thing. Like, where did you learn that? The schools ain't supposed to be teaching that.
Right.
Because they stopped the same things that they were taught back in the 60s and 70s and all of that stuff. Also, I think it's interesting that when Metal said that line, and that's the only Metal scene we have, I believe, in this episode. Is it about making money, doing all that? That's what Tony is. That's what he wants. Like, he didn't sign up for it. Education to him, like I said earlier, it didn't sign up for AJ to be questioning if there's a God or not. So just that gap, like I said, it was just interesting, man. They are. We've seen a few times where they just do not have it when it comes to parents. They know they don't have any leverage.
Thought they have it, didn't have it.
They don't have any leverage.
And then it's like we sent him to a Catholic school. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is, you know, because there's a later scene, a funny scene that Tony says and I'm a devout Catholic.
It's interesting how Tony has kind of like thrown his hands up. Throughout the episode, he like, bro, I don't know what the fuck to do with this, bro. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to say.
But you know, the weirdest thing is this is probably how Tony was. Like, how quickly. Yeah, like the other part of him when you get away from the wittiness, because you think about how fast, like how quick Tony leaves Melfi's office, and now he either practices or spew out what Melfi just gave him.
She says, yeah.
So even here, him talking about what if you killed them girls? Now that could have been interesting. And he's going into his whole deep point of, I think this is a part of Tony too, where it's like how quickly he takes information and then tries to use it in a moment where he sees the opportunity. That's to me, I can almost imagine that's probably a little bit of Tony. The more I think it was one of the Prestige TV show. I think the podcast you put me on, I think when they start to kind of open up that idea that AJ is kind of us getting the idea of a part of what Tony growing up looked like, it kind of changed my whole outlook on it. So I have to see portions of this as Tony. Move your ass. No, that was funny.
Yeah, man. And yeah. Now, we'll talk about it as we go on, man. There's a lot of stuff to talk about their parenting.
Yeah. I love the parenting scenes. Big P and Skip, they meet at P's house. It's mad early in the morning. P look really stressed. We get a few scenes of newspaper reading in this episode. I don't know what that symbolizes, but we get a few of those scenes. Even Amy later will see her reading a newspaper. But Skip comes and he's reading the paper, and it's an alleged mob figure victim of a bomb. High strong, he's trying to get the info, and he's still like basically playing them to the side. And he says, "You're acting like you're not facing 30 to life for selling H." What's going on with this interaction? What do you think P is mentally, man?
Before we even get into that, because y'all live with a cemetery in your backyard across
bro, I was gonna say that if y'all did. I was like,
cemetery.
But this nigga live on a graveyard, bro.
Yeah.
Like in his backyard, like a stone's throw. Not even in the distance, nigga. Like right here is a tomb, like right here by your back door. That's crazy.
He probably got it for a really good deal. That's probably what.
Yeah,
he realized that he's been over with his pants down by his ankles, man. And here's why. It's 8 a.m. You coming to my crib about something that ain't even in the city. This ain't even got nothing to do with my crew. But yet you think you can just use me for information of all mob activity on the East Coast. Like, what you got going on, man? At first, this was about me trying to help you out with Tony, help you out with the crew, build a case. Now you coming to me because you think I'm your errand boy. You can ask me anything about anybody who last name ends with a vowel. And I'm 8 a.m, bro. No warning, no notice.
Crib, though. At my crib, nigga.
Like, you way out of pocket for that. But
might have pulled up or whatever.
But to Mo's point, you facing 30 years. I can do whatever I want to. I pull up at 4 a.m. if I need to.
Boy.
He realized in that moment. That's why he's stressed, because he knows he can't do anything else. What is he? He's either going to tell Tony or he's going to really flip on the fence. He's caught between a rock and a hard place. It might even be symbolism that the cemetery is in the background. He feels dead inside.
Got to.
That's true. One of the great things about that scene, though, was Pussy calling Skip out. I was like, nigga, don't come at my house at 7 o'clock in the morning because somebody at your job crawling up your ass for you can figure out what's going on. I'll try to put this shit on me.
Yeah.
But it goes to where both of them are at in their careers. Like both of them, like middle management, have a boss that they look up to, well, not maybe look up to, but have a boss that they answer to. And both of them are trying to kind of bullshit around the situation. Skip, in the sense of he kind of got a soft spot for Pussy. We see that. And Pussy trying to bullshit around and string this out as long as he can because he don't want to tell on his man. So he trying to shuck it out as long as he can, but Skip getting pressure from the boss. Like, nah, bro, like, y'all need to make something happen. Like, even that's a good point that you brought up. This ain't even your crew. This ain't even in my city. This all the way down the street, but you pulling up in my crib at 7 a.m, knowing I can't really give you shit on this, but you just got to press the issue because the issue need to be pressed. It went a great job of setting to where Pussy was in the whole, like, it fast forwarded it a little bit because we hadn't got a lot from it this season. It fast forwarded it to the point where, okay, they tired of him bullshitting. Something gonna have to happen. He got to make a move or Tony gonna have to find out. So I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. We get our first Tony and Melfi scene. AJ feels like he has no purpose, which is an interesting thought. And Melfi has this really deep quote here. I thought, when some people first realize that they're solely responsible for their decisions, actions, and beliefs, and that death lies at the end of every road, they can be overcome with intense dread. What did y'all take from that statement and even this scene with them two?
Skipping way ahead and having a spoiler alert, it kind of alludes to the ending of this show. Like
Oh,
regardless
yeah.
of the road you take, it was gonna end that way.
Yeah.
Like it was gonna end that way for him, regardless of that. So I that's being alone several times through watching the person thought about it like, oh damn, that's really kind of a reflection on what may happen in the future. But right then, I think it was kind of her giving Tony, as you said earlier, more to think about, more information to process, because she know that's how he handles these therapy sessions best. Versus her just answering the questions about what she think is wrong with AJ. She poses to him different scenarios as to, okay, well, have you thought about this? And this is the reason that he's acting that way, because that's how she feels like she gets the best out of Tony.
What say you, Rich?
Well said. No, he literally said everything I was going to. I actually had something in my notes. There's a few things, if you're very familiar with this series, from this episode that allude to a lot of future events.
A lot of stuff, right? This is one
even
of those
direct lines, throughout this episode. So Spike hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, and for me, it when you become grown and you realize how prevalent death is and how real it is, because as a kid you're oblivious. This thought and this her quote saying this, it really resonated, because it's when AJ comes to this realization early at that age, it's like, bro, how do I, because all of us as men and women grown-ups, we have to get past that thought once we understand we got to go. And that is a very hard thing to get past. It's like, what do you mean? One day I'm here, one day I'm not. And that is a hard thing to gather. So even at the end, Tony says, I think the kid is on to something. That, which again shows that correlation between Tony and I imagine how he was as a kid, just like AJ. But AJ's obviously in a new era, so it's a little different. But that thought really resonated, that how it can really put that type of mentality on you, having that intense dread, knowing these things. No matter what you do, it's going to come down to this. Great scene. Christopher's on the movie set, man. He's getting the look right now. He really fanboying out over here. Amy's, looking like a big deal. Got the little cheap Sony headphones on, and they got the little passes on. And this is where we meet John Favreau. And
why you hating on Amy like that? Call her headphones cheap. You dismissing her passes. You ain't believe she was a big deal.
No, I mean, she, like I said, she's beautiful. I'll give her that. She's nice. I just don't think what she says she is, and he got played. It just speaks to his naiveness, just like Adriana. But we get to the scene, we get these two girls. It look like they're shooting a movie. It's a lesbian flick, I guess. And he inputs one word and they take it and run with it. He's happy about it. He has that same look he had in the acting class when he did hey, you're dropping your oranges, and everybody smile. He get that same kind of like, oh, they like me, they really like me. You know what I'm saying? So but what did you think about this, Spike, this scene? I do love this, contrary to belief, though, this scene.
I like this scene. I like them giving Christopher a different world or different options or opportunities to try and delve into, and showing that he could be good at them if he applied himself. I know one of the things that we've talked about on this podcast is the lack of, him having any emphasis on anything that he does, just kind of going through the motions. But we do have those brilliant moments, like you said, in the acting classes, even right here, where he adds a word and everybody's fascinated by it, or he tells a story like we would see later and everybody's fascinated by it. I do like that we show these flashes of brilliance with Christopher, but never do we get throughout the whole series him being able to string it together and be that dude that we all want him to be as fans. I think that's probably why he's one of the most popular characters in this whole series. Like what he does on this movie set right here, he got everybody eating out the palm of his hands, and he barely even trying.
100%. Remember when I don't know if it was last episode or one before that, when I told y'all in the Sopranos, Chris is really used as that medium to cross us over from the real world. Those Godfather references, and not Godfather, but Goodfellas references, stuff like that. We got another one. not surprising that Chris is the character that's meeting these. Jon Favreau isn't playing someone else; he's playing himself. So he's in the real world. Same as Janine Garofalo. Like these are real people that Chris is, able to get into their world. So I love that, how they intertwine those two when they use Chris's character for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's also Chris yearning for that. He knows he has talent and it's going to come out in waves, kind of like what Spike said.
Mm-hmm.
He needs that kind of pat on the back, that attaboy. And I think wherever he can find it, that's where he's getting attracted to. Now, he does have that glimmer in his eye.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell he wants to be on that set. That's something he's interested in. But another thing that happens throughout this entire episode, it starts with this scene. Chris mentions constantly how much he loves movies, right? He keeps saying it. I love movies. I love movies. I love movies. Just because you love some shit don't mean you know nothing about it. You got to put in some real work.
Oh,
you got to put in some work. When he's going over with Amy, I know we'll get to that scene, but he's talking about you're not even at the third act yet. Like, bro, you really don't even know how to write a screenplay.
What the fuck you writing? Right, you just
right.
writing.
Jon Favreau, he has similar moments. Chris is so confident though because he looks at it as, oh, this is something I'm familiar with. I love it. I can figure it out. Same way he does with the mob. Like, bro, narrow the fuck down. This
my whole life. I can wing it and figure it out. Yep, that's a good
exactly.
point.
Versus if I just put my heart and soul into this and really gave it some time and effort, what could my potential be? We say it, I feel like every other week or every big Chris scene is so frustrating because when he puts it together, it's all the way together.
Mm-hmm.
But when it ain't,
facts.
Wasted talent.
This is literally, he couldn't even write an arc.
Yeah.
Come on. He couldn't even write an arc.
But he thinks he can. That's the biggest thing.
Exactly.
It's okay if you can't. He's not self-aware enough to know that he's not.
Yeah.
He still thinks that what he does can make it work. The same way he thinks how he's going about his other family and his other business.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks that's okay. Doing the bare minimum, skating by. Like I mentioned earlier, you cannot color outside the lines.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be on point in this world.
Yeah.
Like Tony told him, you either with me or you can take your ass on.
Yeah. So I think it was a wake-up call for Chris too. Like, I got to figure this shit out.
Yeah, and I think he has the idea that I see it, I can do it too. You know what I mean? Like I think the whole mob thing, he might have grew up around. I could do it too. Yeah, I can kill somebody. Yeah, I can go rob. I could do that. But then he looking here because even looking at the one of the directors and she's like got a thong on. He's like, that's the director. Like he looking crazy. Like I know I can do this. Look at her. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't know if there's any symbolism. I just gonna throw that out there. They had a bunch of lemons and apples on the ground. I don't know if that's some kind of symbolism there, but y'all can chime in, hit us up on Instagram or whatever.
You know what's funny?
What?
That scene that they're doing, Janine Garofalo and stuff like that. It's pretty much alluding to people trying to find too much into nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Always looking for that bigger answer. The same with AJ, looking for the deeper question, deeper meaning in things.
What's it all mean? Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's just like they just apples on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's a theme throughout this episode. Like they try to tell you, like sometimes it's not supposed to be taken for anything deeper, but with a show like this, it's hard not to.
Mm-hmm.
But in that very scene, I forget the actual quote. Janine Garofalo's character says something along those lines. So it's very interesting because I think about Sopranos. What's the hidden meaning? What's the secret? And it's like, bro, it might just be a decent scene.
On the ground.
They know, but they don't know.
Right.
And I thought this is point number one that moving on, but this is point number one where I think Amy ain't who she really is. She's going on and she's talking and she's doing this and John cuts her anyways. Like he cuts her off. I'm like, oh, okay. You're not that important. Like, I think that was just a subtle little.
He's Jon Favreau, though. Like, it shows, I think it just shows you hard on Amy. Golly. It just shows the hierarchy in the relationship. Like, no, she's not some person that could get his movie greenlit, but she is in the know enough to have him on the set, you know what I'm saying, to get him the meet and greet, to hand the script over. Like, she does have that much pull. I think that's what they were trying to show.
Yeah.
Which really means in Chris's world, nothing.
Right, exactly.
Later on in the stairwells, but in her world, it means everything, though.
Yeah,
that's the reason she drops those names. Like, because if we in her world and she dropping those names, people are going to be impressed. You know what I'm saying? So, not so much with Chris.
Yeah, I'll elaborate a little more further down. We get a short scene with AJ and Tony riding together.
Bruh.
Go ahead,
I
Lou.
think
Go
this may
ahead,
have
bro.
started. This may have started my hatred of AJ, because I
Okay.
could imagine as a parent, like you don't really know what the fuck to say to him, and all you want to do is stop the car and just get out. Me personally, I wouldn't say everybody. I would just want to get out the car and like, we're gonna fight. Like me and you, I'm gonna beat. Me and you finna throw hands because I feel like that you playing with me with all of this crazy shit that you saying. What if, like, bruh, like, nah, you finna listen to what I'm saying and we finna get this shit done. And it's just it seems like one of the more frustrating things, and Tony is like at his wit's end. This is like he ain't even, I don't know if he didn't try, if he's just over it, and they've gotten us to the point where we accept him being over it. But I ain't really see him even try with AJ. Like he ain't even really trying to break through this wall that AJ has thrown up, which makes it all the more frustration as a viewer too to me. Because he just tossed him off the pussy.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. He made a point of saying, like, I don't even want to be around him half the time.
Right. He was like, bro, I don't even, who is this dude? Like, I don't even like this dude, bro. It's your son.
Yeah, man. I feel you on that part too, man. As a parent, I wouldn't even know what to say to my kid about, because you're not, you flipping the parent-child dynamic on his head. Like, you want us, like, I don't know shit about Nietzsche. Like, I don't, like, what are you talking about? Right now? Yeah, like, why are you even thinking about this at your age? And if you don't know how to have those conversations, or were never raised, he wasn't raised like that in his household. You think Livia was having those combos with him?
They would have hit him in his mouth. He would have got smacked
Johnny,
in his mouth.
There's an old Italian phrase.
Right. Exactly. So that aspect of it, like, what do you do when you're a parent and you just got, I wouldn't know what to do. Like you said, like, I would have no clue.
Yeah. You just got to ride it out, bro.
Like, all right, man, you weird, man.
Right, like, bro, that's all you can be like. Like, I don't even know. Like, you a weird little motherfucker.
This is my ear.
Just whoop your ass and nothing.
This is my ear.
Like, I'm throwing my hands up, bro.
Yeah, and you got to think Tony's probably doing more than probably Johnny did, and that's why I think that he's having such a hard time, because he feels I'm putting him in a good school.
He's trying. He's trying.
I'm actually trying.
I'm putting my best foot forward.
And I'm looking at
a good school.
Exactly. I'm comparing to my dad, and I know I'm doing more than him. So, but what's the problem? This kid should, I just paid $150,000 on the school. I want my refund if he talking about, but I just wanted to point out too, did it seem like Robert Eiler, the one that plays AJ, did it seem like he was kind of like there was a blooper, like he looked like he about to smile, like he hit the window, and then he kind of like had this look like almost like a smile was about to bust through that wasn't supposed to be there? I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person seen it, but I thought it was hilarious. It's this little subtle, and he kind of smirks. But anyways, Chris, we get Christopher, Amy, and John, and they go to this pizza joint, and he gets to sharing about this story about a transgender individual and how they fooled a mob guy and how things got really ugly for that individual, and they're taking it in. And Amy is all locked in because she's got a hard on, so to speak, for Christopher. She is enthralled
That's a crazy term given the nature of this conversation.
See what I did? You see what I did?
Her having a hard on, yeah. Man.
You see what I did there? Yeah, that's a bar. But she really, like, she's just getting moist. Like the drip is happening, and because she's here for the danger.
Now. Okay.
She is like, because she's like, you look at John and you look at her. It's two different reactions.
We get it.
But I think it's the same though.
Nah, it ain't. The same. John has the same. He's trying. Both of them are trying to use Chris, his experience, and John is writing that script or whatever it is he's doing, and he's a leech for the information as well. Like oh man, what is he gonna say? Like when he was telling that story, like you said, he had a hard on just as much as she did.
Hold on.
This nigga said the drip is happening. What the fuck?
Down, right? Like he doubled down on it. Like the hard on wasn't enough.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the club. I'm sorry. The club, like they zoomed in and put so much focus on her face.
The drip is happening. It's fucking crazy.
Like, that was nuts.
Oh man,
that was insane.
But here's what I'm saying though. They're there for the same purpose. Definitely using. This is Hollywood. This is what they're doing. They get these authentic stories and they ride around with these people in the neighborhood. They get these authentic stories and put it together. So, but John is receiving it like, oh, that's like the movie that happened over here. Like, oh, that happened over there. But her reaction and his reaction to the story, he's like, he looks at her, he's like, no, this is real. And she's just like all in about it. And this is the reason I think their reactions are different, because her reaction is kind of like she's still looking at it like danger and entertainment. He's looking at it like, well, I'm half Italian. That's what he said. I'm half Italian. I forgot what it was like. I grew up in Manhattan, so he knows partially, I'd imagine, okay, I do know some of this stuff really happened. So their reaction is not the same, though they're using is they're both got it in effect, but I definitely don't think their reaction was the same. And she's Jewish, so it's a different perspective. But yeah.
That.
Yeah,
I think it's more so, just like anything. If you're not from that world, you're more intrigued. You want to know more about it. You want to act like you live those tales. Tell me these stories so I can tell them as my own. No different than you from the hood. What was it like?
So they'll tell me these stories so they'll call me a genius in these meetings when I come up with it in my script and shit like that.
That's true.
How authentic it sounds. Absolutely.
And this is random. My fault. This is random, but you were right. I think that was a blooper. I think he was waiting on them to say cut. AJ in that scene prior.
Okay.
I went back and looked at it. I think he was waiting for them to say cut, and Tony or James did something to make him laugh.
Yeah. What was you gonna say, Spike?
No, that was it. That was it.
I did. There was a thing that Amy said. Great line wrote here. It says, Amy says, "You go ahead. You can tell us it ain't like you won't be betraying some kind of oath. You have zero idea, but yet Christopher's so dumb." I'm like, bro, you are. That's what. Anyways,
he have
you think it was dumb? You calling him dumb for that, or did you just think he was clout chasing?
He's clout chasing, but it's like,
I don't think it's a lack of intelligence though. He knows 100% what he's doing. I just think he's so immersed with what they have to offer. Just like, so we see it physically from them, how they're like, oh man, what stories he's gonna tell. He's doing the same thing, just from a different perspective, because he like, you don't tell these stories to anybody. Like, this is amongst us. So like him telling those stories, he's being just as overzealous as they are. Just a different way of doing it.
One of my favorite lines in The Wire. Hey, man, I told Stringer, man, what I tell you about playing them fucking away games?
What I tell them away games, nigga.
Yeah, man. Chris playing away games right now.
Definitely playing away games, bro.
Yeah, man. Chris is playing away games. He knows better.
Yeah. But what about here's his jab number 2 at Swingers?
Yeah.
Swingers had a little bit of,
John Favreau had enough of that shit too.
He was like,
you got me fucked up, really.
Yeah.
I got movies. You trying to make movies.
That's funny. Yeah. But you look, you don't want to hang it. Look. But I just thought that was funny, the whole oath thing. I don't think, like I said, I think he know what he's doing, but I think that, bro, and maybe it's because of Tony. It's like, you look at your Uncle Tony, he's like, he murders people and then he turns around and lives in the suburbs like a regular life. So I can murder somebody too and go back and make a film. So maybe in some kind of way he think, because I'm like, bro, you kill and you turn it around and then you're dumbfounded at the fact that things happen the way they happen at the end of the episode. But we'll get there.
It's like what Spike just said. It's back and forth. They both using each other for that. They're both speaking on things they know nothing about. She's bringing up the oath like she's from that world, the same way he's talking about slingers and what his intent was and his role was. Like he knew. Sure. He doesn't. None of them know, but they feel like they do from secondhand experiences or by extension.
Okay, great pool. Tony, he takes the car to Big P. Man, great. I forgot about that already. Big P has the auto shop, of course. Season 1. We'll see later with his wife. And then he tries to get him to, pull the uncle card, like, yo, man, talk to your man. Talk to my son, man. He's getting on my nerves. I don't know what's up with this dude. I trust in you. I really like this. And then I even the later scene I like too. It's kind of gives us a closer look at, no, they really are best friends. Like, this is his godfather. They really best friends for real. What did y'all gather from this interaction right here?
Yep, beautiful way to show us without having to apply all the screen time that they need to show how good of friends that Pussy and Tony are. It's like you said, we've had these conversations with, people who your best friend, like I'm sure Mo, like, if talk to your niece or whatever it may be, or your godson or whatever conversations, that type of one-off, that type of shorthand is with people that you are like, this is my dog. Like, I can tell him and trusting him to know like I've hit a dead end with this. Maybe your voice, because I trust your voice too. Maybe you can register with this nigga. So it goes to show how much that like pussy meant to Tony. Like without having to show it like go back in time and do flashbacks, anything like that. Like we see right here, like how Tony throws his hands up in the shorthand that they have with each other. Like that's his man's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point.
Great scene to show that. Spike, you hit it on the head again. That's nothing more for me. This was nothing more than just showing how close they really are. And I don't know mob shit. This is history. This is sandbox. Like this is my man's.
Yes.
You know, with or without all of this stuff we got going on. So, and like we said, Tony just not knowing what to do as far as a parent. Let's get this second voice in there.
Yeah, and he got two boys. Big P got two boys. And
they older. He's been through this
phase. So there's
my
a
man. Yeah,
that's my man.
You my man. So tell me what you did in this.
And they both going to college. And AJ, we get that nod of he got a C, 3 D's, and an F. So he's doing terrible, opposite of Meadow. So that's
that nigga. Like I just hate his demeanor. Bro.
I used to really be. I swear I used to be like that.
Nigga, what? Like a C, 2 D's, and an F. Like just like whatever too. Like
not a care in the world.
Not even. Yeah, like what? Bro,
what do I got to achieve for? My parents are rich. What I got to achieve for?
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
He looks at them like that. He looks at them like y'all from a different.
Yeah, like what the fuck y'all asking me about my grades for? Like he had the audacity. Like, like why, nigga? F and like, what?
Straight up. We get a small scene, but I know y'all always find deep pools here. But Adriana and Chris, they having this quick moment. She was watching some alien show or something. I don't know what that was. Yeah, but comes in and he just tells her like, yo, I was hanging out with John and Amy, and she has an issue. What was her issue? That's the only question I got here.
You married, you know what her issue was? You married, you know what her issue was. Nigga, imagine you did that. You went somewhere, you and your wife have been support. You like, yeah, I just pulled up. Nigga, you know it'll be a problem too.
Yeah, but only reason because it's like she knows Christopher. Like this is wild to me. Like just because it's like Christopher, then you push him to go out there.
Take away from her desire of what she wants to be in his life, though. Like she still wants to hold that place. That's why she's supporting him. That's why she got the screenplay out the trash can. That's why she told it like she's pumping him up at the dinner. Like I want to be a part of this. I'm pushing you towards this. I want to do this with you. So for him to walk in and so nonchalantly be like, oh yeah, I went down here with such and such. It's two great things from that. One, like I'm oblivious to your support. But the other thing too was the two lifestyles that we were talking about pulling from him. Like I can't bring you with me to this lifestyle if I decide to do this. You're gonna be a part of that previous lifestyle tomorrow. I'm leaving you behind if I do this. And that's how we seen the whole affair and all this shit play out. Like it wasn't no we got to keep this a secret from Adriana. He was talking about like how are we gonna tell my cousin? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he making plans, but it's to work out long term. So women's intuition from Adriana storming off, knowing that like he sees something in this and he ain't invite me with this. If this happens, he gone, and that means the end of me and him.
Gotcha.
Two additional things. One, when Chris got that invite, Amy said, both of you guys together as a unit should come down to set.
Great point.
So Adriana felt ownership of that invitation.
Us, like she want us to come.
Exactly. Okay. She even made another mention. I think that scene right after when she said they want us to come down to set. So she's definitely making it. She keeps mentioning stuff about movies, about Vince Vaughn. The other thing, and Mo, you should know this, man. You can't have fun without your girl.
Oh, right. Man.
You feel me? It's not like he went and ran errands. Like he was just hanging out on a movie set. Like what? Like it'd be different if he said, I had a meeting or we got on the phone and chopped it up real quick. Now I was actually there, live action. I seen Janine Garofalo. I seen how they set the whole shit up. She ain't trying to hear that.
You finna get so much shade, nigga, when you come back to the crib.
I guess he felt, well, since you already mad, I might as well go and seal the deal.
Yeah, man. It's like
might as well go ahead and
yeah, you think your girl at work or something like, nah, I was at the game. You was at the game. Yeah, I had courtside seats too. What? Like what?
Bro.
You ain't hit me up.
Right. And then it's that weird thing they don't like where like in the beginning he's like, man, forget that, man, whatever. He ain't nothing, downplaying it. Then like you pull it up, you all up in the videos. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what she probably felt too. Like, bro, you said, man, you didn't care nothing about none of these. Now you all up in the video, bro. Like, yeah, that's crazy. Big P and AJ, they at the batting range, man. Great scene. I think I think Spike Lee can appreciate some bars here.
Yeah, that's Juneteenth, man. Come on.
Oh, the rap shit.
Yeah,
Rap.
yeah, man. But Big P
that was a
some
random ass, weird
so
ass line.
random.
Yeah, that was random as hell.
I wonder why they wrote that.
What
plenty
did
of
he say? Niggas what?
Nigga be a leader, not a follower.
Yeah, it was just the most like. That's how. Man, you know how mad his parents would be if they found out he was listening to rap.
Shit, bro. Not even that. Like, what are you talking about? How does that even apply? Like, I get it in the general context of the conversation, but AJ just the little dipshit, aloof ass kid that he is. Like, where do you pull that from? Nigga be a leader. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
I don't know, maybe is that Carmella? I guess Carmella's mom. We talked
about.
He
was saying that in response to the dude, like, you should read this, and he's saying like you should do this, and I can teach you this. And then this nigga be a leader, not a follower. Like, I'm not a follower, I guess he's saying. But it's just
but he was a follower though, wasn't he? Throughout the series.
In what sense?
AJ. Throughout the series,
yeah, which makes the line even dumber.
Yeah,
and even what irritated me, that ain't even the thing that irritated me the most about this scene was he hit the ball and dropped the bat and started shaking his hands.
I don't play like that.
Boy, don't fucking know, but you a fucking little boy, you know that. That's what happens when you play baseball. You hit the ball, you get the little sting. Like, what are you talking? I hate AJ, bro.
But he played football, not baseball.
Bro, he's supposed to be athletic in general. Like, to drop the bat like that, that's
hold on.
Boy, I would have been pissed off if I was just dead.
But bro, that dude got that weird tingle. Like, that's not play like you don't
does. Remember. But that's what you get used to when you playing baseball. Just like if you playing football, like, nigga, you gonna get hit. It's gonna hurt sometimes. I promise you that.
Mm-hmm.
So keep it moving. Don't drop your helmet and your shoulder pads and shit. I just didn't like how he responded to it. Like you said, like the way you just explained it, you know that tingle's coming. You play, all of us know that.
No, I don't think he knows. I'm talking about us.
Throw his hand up like that. Like, bro, come on. And if he don't know, being 10 years old, that even speaks more to the frustration that Tony got with it. How you never hit a baseball? You fucking 10 years old, bro. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, AJ still got training wheels on his bike. I'm convinced.
Man, listen, bro.
Yeah.
I'm convinced, man.
The lights on, but somebody ain't there.
He still uses the bumpers at the bowler alley. He's a child, man.
At that age, right?
At that age, right now.
Yeah, like, come on, bro. What are you doing?
I just don't like AJ because he doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah,
I know we get frustrated at all. No desire for nothing. It's one thing if you don't have desire for things here and there. We see that with Chris a lot. For nothing, there's nothing that excites you. There's nothing that piques your interest. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. And even when somebody bring it up to you, even some interest, you're like, oh, whatever. That's what I hate.
It's like, what are you doing here?
I ain't even responsive or respective of nothing. Like, fuck it.
It's wild.
It is. Chris goes looking for John Favreau, but instead he sees somebody else. He ends up seeing Amy and
sneaking and geeking.
Did a little sneaky link, as they call it today. She knew what she was doing, clearly.
Yeah, she set this up.
Man, what a setup, though. Like, you know, the normal thing to do is go ahead, let me change, let me wash my hands. But you sitting here the whole time, I was like.
If she would have came and met that nigga in the lobby if she wasn't trying to get it going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to answer the door in the robe and shit, and then sit close and read the script together. Like, come on, bro.
Oh, yeah, she was, What else did you gather from the scene other than, you know?
You think John knew she was gonna fuck him?
You talking about her fiance or John? I mean John. I mean,
I'm talking about John, the director dude.
I don't think
he knew this was part of the plan.
Well, you got to think, bro. At the very beginning, her fiance said that she did something and he shot her right up. Whoever did, not John, but somebody else. That's what he said in the club. Like, I forgot to mention that. That's why I said I don't think she's really a VP. I think you really are a D girl. That playing different. Because then it's this moment here. I mean, of course, like I said, she was attractive. But it's like, how quickly are you like? You're engaged to his cousin. Like, where's the loyalty? Come on. You're a D girl. You here for D. Double entendre. Come on. Come on.
Oh man, you hate Amy.
Oh
He
man.
hate her. He hate her. You hate her like I hate AJ.
No, I don't hate her. It's just that thing where when you acting like it's something
You
else.
think
You know
she a
how
fraud?
yeah, it's
You don't
just
like frauds.
oh yeah, I don't like that. You like just be like when the lights is on, you keep like, excuse me, stop. You just feel like you could say that because you look at him and you left him in the dust. She pulled the momentum, like she literally did a Marcus Graham moment on him.
Marcus
Took his soul. She took his soul for real. But anyways,
you got to tell the people who Marcus Graham is.
Marcus Graham
These two
from
fan bases might not.
okay,
yeah,
we got
they might not mesh.
all right.
Yeah.
Rich is the movie guy. He has a podcast that they talk about this. Can you tell them who Marcus Graham is and what am I referring to?
Marcus Graham is a character from the 1992 film Boomerang, starring Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
We won't go into too much detail about. It's a classic rom-com, one of the first black movies rom-coms where it was just black people being regular. No, very successful business like corporate world black people. And there's a moment in there with Marcus Graham and who that character is. Like I said, we won't get into it, but if you ever seen it, then you know exactly what the reference was and
yes,
the Marcus Graham and all that stuff, man.
Yeah,
hilarious.
His toes curl. They showed Chris toes curl.
Yeah, definitely, man. Come on, because she was just so into it, bro. But the momentum changed from like this unobtainable thing to now you've been obtained to now I got you tamed, and now you need me, and now I'm gonna lead you to the to the wolves or whatever. But I mean, I like her character. I just don't like you trying to play like Anyway,
I think she was a big deal in Chris world. I mean,
absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Man, she's so out of pocket for this, man. The way she leaned in it, she's so out of pocket.
Come on.
Reading the script, getting all close.
No,
right here.
Like you breathing my breath. You breathing my breath. You know you're too close. Man. Come on. Anyways. Yeah. But yeah, just got to it. Definitely got to it. Good scene. Chris was into it. Like he was in love with the way his face was looking.
That's what he was looking for, man.
Yeah.
That was Chris' dream life. Fucking her, movies with Jon Favreau, doing that shit. Like that would have been his dream life.
That's his high, kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. We go over to Livia and AJ. What a scene here. I'm glad that they're keeping it consistent. This is a moment again. I know y'all say y'all believe she knows, but there's still these moments in here where she's back and forth in it. And maybe it's just old age. I don't know. But she's like, "Who are you?" She's like, "Did your father send you?"
She's such a piece of shit.
Full of shit.
Like, I have a grandson.
She's still.
I have a grandson, and then she's like, the next sentence is like, "Oh, you never come and see me, bitch. I thought you didn't know I existed."
That's why I think.
I knew she was full of shit from the very opening of the scene. We see her staring off his face. Open. As soon as he comes in, who is it? You woke me. I ain't wake you up. You been up. Like, chill. Like, why you on this?
So full of shit.
I might have been on my almost. I might have been on my almost. Come on.
Nah, she wasn't on her almost, man. She was up here chilling. Man. She just wanted some sympathy, man. Olivia, man.
Shit. And then she went straight into Olivia mode to what'd you do?
Yeah.
Like, as soon as she found out she got the chance to get somebody for being wrong, nigga, all that victim shit went out the window. She's like, oh, yes, I get to jump on his ass.
So what did y'all think about this? This is a very interesting, another interesting quote here, a very strong quote that he's talking about purpose. And she's like, purpose? Like, who says you have to have purpose? She's and then she, I mean, of course, this is classic Livia because she's just negative. That's what she's into, negativity. I like that line earlier in the season, but purpose, why? Who says you have to have purpose? She's like, let me tell you something. In the end, you're left alone in your own arms. You know what I'm saying? And basically, like, my advice, don't expect happiness. And this is the household Tony grew up in. So what did y'all think about this advice from her? I mean, this is obviously terrible to tell a kid. But what do you think, looking at it from an adult view, hearing something like that? This is a lot. Like, I don't know what to, like.
Like this scene, man, this moment from Livia kind of sums up the show. It really sums up the show, man. Don't expect happiness. Like, what are we doing all of this? Like, even Tony being in therapy, what is he doing all of this for? When I know at the end of the day, this is how it's all gonna play out.
Right.
You know,
this is what happens.
You know, we're gonna be by ourselves. You're gonna be, you know, holding yourself in your own arms. What makes you think you special?
Mm-hmm.
Don't matter your rank, don't matter anything. Like all this questioning the purpose of things.
Mm-hmm.
Live and let live, man. Live your life. See what's gonna happen. All of this shit got a chance of luck. You know, it's got circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cynical and it's very on brand for Livia. And if you want to take that mindset and dive into it, then keep on living. Like it's just kind of like that. Like don't worry about the shit you can't control. Just keep on going. We ain't gonna make it out of here alive anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting how AJ gets here.
Yes.
Because it was a much needed conversation that Tony didn't have the ammunition to have with him. Pussy found himself struggling, so he directed him to Tony's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I knowing, like we said, now we got the background and we know how close Tony and Pussy are. Pussy know exactly what she's finna like. He knows she finna like what you just said, Mo. Tell him what he really needs to hear. Like, what the fuck are you worried about all of that for? But it's essentially too what Dr. Melfi was telling him in the session. Like, you're wondering where this shit comes from. He's watching you and you not having a relationship with your mom and questioning all this stuff. This is where he's getting it from.
Mm-hmm.
And we see the disconnect with Tony and AJ as to where if Tony had that relationship with his mom, he would have been the one to be like, I'm gonna take you over to Olivia because she gonna like, I know I've had those conversations with my mom. Like, let me let you go talk to your grandmama. Like she definitely gonna put you where you need to be as far as what you need to hear. You know what I mean? Because they know their parents and they know how they got those lessons from them. So I think that was a dope 360 moment as to how he got that Olivia. And it wasn't Tony who suggested him, but Dr. Melfi was telling Tony, like, maybe that's what he needs to hear. I think that was, again, credited to the writing of The Sopranos and how they do everything. But yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, of course, we can't forget the phrase before leaving the scene. It's all a big nothing. Obviously, again, ties into everything about the series. But I think that it almost turned AJ the other way. It's like, whoa, if I'm going to go all the way, I don't want to go down this path. She just flat out like, it's just darkness. Don't expect happiness. You're going to die alone. Who says you got purpose?
Want to be sad, nigga? I'm going to give you sad.
Yeah, I'm
going to show you sad.
You're going to get this work today. Like, all right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he was like,
it's bad. Yeah, right.
She pretty much told him, look at me. This is what you got to look forward to.
Yeah,
pretty
like,
much.
Look where I am.
Right.
Your dad got all this and all this shit they tell you. Look where I am. Sitting here eating this nasty ass meatloaf, these dry ass potatoes. So
it's like, dang, I got to find some kind of hope. You know what I mean?
Atrocious, man.
That's such a, great pull, Spike, because that's the perfect person. You want to go down that negative, dark route? Let me take you to your grandma, because she going to give it to you. You're like, okay, I got to find something to look forward to. You know what I mean? So that was great. John and Chris, they talk in the suite. They start kind of going, they start going through his script a little bit. And they talk about this character Chris wrote. He's a killer, but he wears tap dancing shoes.
Like what?
Because that's his signature. That's his character signature in his script. He wears tap dancing shoes, and John gives him advice and says, hey, you know,
they're gonna hear him getting away because he got taps on his shoes.
And
like,
then
bro, what are you talking about?
But then instead of saying, oh, I probably should take the tap dancing shoes off my character, he says, the roof. What did he say? Change the whole
soft
roof.
Top.
Yeah, soft top roof.
Soft floor. Like,
not take the taps off his shoes, like, because that would be unthinkable. Just do a whole roof.
Killing some man, bro. Chris, I don't know, bro. I really question his brain power right now. Like,
this was the same day after he smashed old girl. Do y'all think?
I think so.
Like a little bit later on.
I think so.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely.
He might have hung around a little bit until he got back to his room. But what I gathered from this scene, other than like that part, and kind of like John's reaction, because how on edge he seems.
How on edge who seems?
John. Because there's that awkward.
Chris was coked out though. Like, let's not.
He said, "I guess I
was coked the fuck."
I
guess I will order the what did the coffee? What coffee say?
Espresso. He's like, I guess I'll have to order us any espresso.
Yes. Yeah.
My man just did a whole line in front of me. Like, damn, bro. You want to buy your movie?
Yeah. You want it authentic? You got it, buddy.
Facts.
Man.
Chris got a little too comfortable, man.
Oh,
like Chris got too comfortable as he does with all his relationships, and we seen how it played out. I was like,
oh man,
him asking was he strapped, but two, it also like Jon Favreau got what he was looking for.
Yeah,
like I like how Chris pressed him. Like, have I ever what? Like, you gonna be you got the nuts enough to bring it up and say it. Have I ever what? Like that I love that scene. Because it seems like Chris is overreacting, of course, but it also it fits with the situation. Because like guys like that's how they'll do you if you ask them some shit like that. Like that's how it usually goes. Like, nigga, what you fuck you? Who you, the police? Why you asking me this shit for?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So they're gonna press you just like he got pressed. So I think that was really dope.
Yeah, I think it's I've been in this, not directly this, but just a scenario. Like I've been around like an OG where I'm low key scared of this dude. But I can't stop listening to the stories. But I'm low key scared of this dude because he's going in and out of the reality of the memories of what it was and what it ain't. So just kind of being in fear, but can't stop. I feel like John is kind of in that space. He's holding a gun and, he's going through it. He's like, oh, put one right in the old man's head. Bang, bang. Like this dude got a whole loaded gun, probably one in the chamber. And that rush is there, but he's still nervous. But the rush is there and he got everything he need, like you said, Spike. So I totally agree. That was so funny to me. That
hey, you need to do an edit, man. You need to do an edit with this in Minutes to Society. When he asked him, "Are you strapped?" You need to edit it to when O-Dog was like, "You know it."
Yeah, thank you.
You need to do some kind of.
I'm doing that.
My favorite part of the scene, other than him continuously shitting on swingers and comparing the action to Saving Private Ryan, is what Spike said, man. Just this what you want. This is what do you want to know the answer? Like ask it, say it. Nah, just say it.
What you want to know?
Incredible, man.
Ask me the question.
Chris really had this man in a headlock, just coked up. Got him in a headlock. Like you said, gun probably loaded. And I think the funniest part is so subtle. It's him trying to wipe them fingerprints off before he gets
off the gun.
Because that's like, to me, it's like almost metaphor. Like once I'm done, I'm wiping this whole interaction and everything with you. I'm wiping that whole experience away after that. I got what I needed.
Got what I need. And it just goes to the overall theme of what I was saying about Chris. He just doesn't understand. Like John is really giving him some decent pointers of like, make this, bring your story into it. And Chris looks at it like, oh, so make the roof soft. Hey, bro, that's not what I meant.
Soft
talk. You just ain't got it. That's when he knew for sure. Like, all right, man, you out here.
You ain't even. Come on, bro. Like you ain't registering what I'm saying.
Yeah, it just, man, it was so funny, bro. That laugh, that high, like, man, great job, Michael Imperioli, bro. Golly,
that was good. That was a good scene.
He really was. We're at the Sopranos and they're eating dinner. I believe Christopher and Abe. What's Christopher's problem? Like this moment he goes. Yeah, this moment he goes and they sit down for dinner and he's all.
This is this is the mundaneness of his world. Like this is the pull. This is the because, this is an extreme, but this happens in normal life, right? Like you with your regular friends and they talking about like shit. Like you may be on a couple's date and they talking about shit that you just like, bro, I don't care, bro. I just lived this amazing experience and there's all these opportunities, and not to mention he fucking the other bitch that, that has the access to this stuff. Like y'all talking about the produce man and like who did the catering for this is beneath me. It's almost how he came off. And that's why he reacted that way. Plus he was still coked up too. That was the reason.
Yeah, right. Right.
He didn't even want to be there.
Yeah, it's like, bro, this is beneath me. This ain't my world. Like, there's a whole nother, like he was almost saying to them, like, there's a whole fascinating world out here, and y'all right here talking about fucking produce, bro.
Yeah, great pull. And I think Abe reveals that he's still writing a screenplay, and that is when it zooms in on like some classic cinematography. They zoom in on Tony's face, like, because I'd imagine that the pilot, he told him like, bro, like, don't go all Henry Hill on me, bro. So that immediately went in his head, but Tony let it marinate. I don't even think the other mob guys knew about this, bro. Like I think Tony kept that under.
If Paulie had known about this, it would have. Paulie had known about this early, it would have been something different.
Oh, you're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think it was like one of them low key. Like Tony kind of kept it quiet, so that's why he's like, "Look, I'm gonna pull you aside one more time, bro." But
I love how Chris was just disregarding the whole marriage question and all that. Like just
just, I don't even know if I want to do none of this. We ain't even engaged yet. What are y'all talking about marriage?
Right. It's crazy because he's
crazy.
I just hit something.
Right.
Corporate. Hit something crazy.
A whole nother life, right? A whole nother life I got right that can pop off right here.
Boy, got my loosely got some splaining to do off real quick.
Thanks.
And I'm talking about making a movie. You talking about how they got some rare salami. Like, get the fuck out of here. I ain't trying to be here.
He's trying to be on some different fly right now. And that's crazy because he's in the mob. You know what I mean? That's just Chris. Anyways. We get Big P. Big P talks to Skip. And they talk about wearing a wire, and he's not doing it. He's getting mad. He said, "Man, I'm the kid's sponsor." And I love how big the Skip comes through. And who's sponsoring you, nigga? Like he didn't say that obviously, but we got to put the black spin on it. But like, who's sponsoring you, nigga? Like, bro, that was so hard to be. Plus he was on edge and everything. But anything I get from this, like him having to wear a wire, is this the first time he's ever been asked to wear a wire? We're assuming.
No, I think he had. Remember they talked about it at the Christmas shit, right?
Okay. I didn't know if they was like he was a Fed then, but he wasn't wearing a wire or not. So okay, good call.
This might be the first time we've actually heard the conversation of directly, hey, you need to put this wire on in this place.
Got you.
Think about how long he's been stringing them along though. Like, cause you think about when he talked about the first time he had that wire on, that was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably goes to why they so on edge now and why the scenes are so intense. Cause like, bro, come on, nigga, you've been bullshitting us forever now.
Oh, definitely. He gave him Jimmy. Low key, I think he gave him Jimmy.
Yeah, he did.
So that's every time they getting him in a crunch, he give him somebody, I think. So he gave him Jimmy, of course. Like we seen what happened in the first season. Christopher meets up with Amy, and he calls her right in time. She got she got the fly dress on, and they in they're in the elevator, and he's like, I like those shoes, and she's like, well, you can look but don't touch. I think that there's a lot right there. Just like, for one, you literally, this lifestyle, you can look but can't touch. You can never be a part of it. Two, you like these shoes, you'll never be in these shoes. And the shoes
was just out of reach.
Yes,
just out of reach.
Just out,
lifting them up tall enough where they were just out of reach for him.
Come on. So this was a great little like, and now this is where he looked like Marcus Graham.
You know what zones me out the most about this scene, and it's just because this just shows you how sick I am and how many issues I got. It's really the opening when Chris is smoking that cigarette, and dude says, "I don't want to have to tell you again." Because my first response, like, "Motherfucker, what you gonna do?" What you mean you don't have to tell me again? What's that mean?
Right, it's a smoke-free
environment. Right.
I don't want to have to tell you
smoking forever. What fucking? And what if you got to tell me one more time?
There's a certain way to say things. You know what I mean? Like I don't. When I hear disrespectful statements, I'm gonna take them seriously.
Right.
Like, come on, hey, my man, come on. I told you a couple times, man. Can you please stop smoking? All right, that's another way to go about it. Don't make me have to tell you again. I don't want to. Name what he said. I don't want to have to.
Oh shit!
Like, I do want you to. I want you to have to. Now what?
Yeah.
Thanks. And that goes to him just being outside of his world.
That's what I was just about to say.
Ain't no clout, no respect there. You just some random ass Italian dude smoking in the lobby. Not knowing that I would take you outside and literally kill you, like as we've seen later on.
Oh yes,
with waiters go.
You want a tip? I got a tip for you, boy. Hollow.
Well, that's one of I can't wait till
I can't wait.
God damn, that's one of my favorite scenes, man.
Yeah, boy.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Man, this guy, dude, he was bugging. Oh. Christopher and Amy, they wake up in the morning. He wants to stay the night and everything, and he's all into it. And she's talking about she went to Yale, and he said, "I swear you Jews got your own Costa Nostra." She really liked that line. That was kind of her mind began to think. Now I think that Amy has a brilliant mind. I don't take that away from her, stage of what she has a brilliant mind. She understands what's going on, even when she was talking about the movie on the set. But he ends up bringing up, he said, "I'm not the only skinny guinea, basically, that you banging." And immediately she's like, oh, she goes into the room and then she switches vibes. how much of this do y'all think was intentional, or she was really brought out of the awe of, oh, I am banging your cousin and you, like?
Yeah, I think he made her realize, like,
Mm-hmm.
he playing around. Like, both of us got real lives around here. I think it finally kind of just hit her. That was a fantasy for her. Like, she was mesmerized from the time she seen that nigga whispering through her ear and telling him to get lost. Like, she was mesmerized, and she been playing out this fantasy with him for the last 3-4 days. And when he said that, it like reality hit her. Like, oh shit! Like, no, wait, I'm engaged to a whole nother successful motherfucker. Like the better version of you that I would actually date, not just fuck on the weekend in New York. And that's when it hit her. Yeah,
I'm calling
man.
Captain Crunch, buddy. Straight Captain Crunch. Yeah.
What's that?
Because she's Hollywood. This is all Hollywood here. Like,
you think she acting?
Yes. It's that.
You think she acting for real?
Yes.
What she got to gain from that?
Well, because now it's like, oh, wait a minute, he's gonna break up my sanction. Actually, Greg is corporate. I imagine his cousin's more corporate, but he's Italian. It's like, oh, I got to get back to my regular work. He might spill the beans now, so to speak. All right, I gotta get ahead of. Oh, well, I got to talk to. I'm thinking like, nah, bro. Like, I don't see it. Like, because everything about how quickly she got past it tells me, nah.
I don't think she would have brought it up had it not been brought up by Chris.
She wouldn't have.
Which makes me believe that's why I think they when you moving like that, the unwritten rule is don't bring up real life. Like, let's stay in this moment. This is what our real life is, what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be bothered by, my partner and all that. I think he really forgot. He slipped. He caught himself like, oh shit, my cousin. Like, he forgot. You know what I mean? And that's wild to think about on the outside. How you forget you hitting your cousin's fiance? But in that moment, that's what they own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They were so like engulfed in the little world that they had created for those couple of days, man.
I was zoned out when she said, how we gonna tell him? We gotta figure out how we gonna tell him. But what you mean tell him?
What? Tell who what? What are you talking
about? I'm sorry, bro. I just don't. Every time I watch this, I never buy it because it just, the way the end of it is just like, nah.
Make it sound like they type.
But see, I think she was
had talks of being together.
Yeah, she was cutthroat though. That's why I bought the end of it. I ain't think that she was.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think that this whole thing was like, oh, it's like, nah. I don't. Yeah,
I think she initially it was that a fantasy. I think Chris really looked at, because Chris is asking her some intimate questions, some real getting to know you shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Is she even saying like, why? What's up with this? Is this question and answer?
Right.
So he's looking at this like, all right, this is about to be my new life. Let me like put my best foot forward.
Like, he jumping all the way in. Like, I'm gonna lead a mob. We finna write screenplays.
That's what I'm saying. They got two different ideas of this. They had. That's why I don't think.
Yeah, but then when she started to realize what his idea of it was, she's like, oh, no, hell no, bro. Not at all.
But I don't. Yeah, I think that I still think she knew. But I think that it was just like, oh, you about to mess up the bag. Like, I'm doing this with you. I'm excited. We got our own thing. But I don't think it was like, oh, I forgot. Man, come on. Like, stop. You in Hollywood, dude. Like, you around actors.
She got infatuated, man. She
did get infatuated, but I'm saying she acting like she didn't know all of a sudden. That's all I'm saying. But he goes and he reads a line in his script, and they share the story about the transgender and mob guy. He loses it. Now he snaps out of it like, oh, and he goes and knocks on John's door.
It's when his reality hit. Like, it wasn't for him. It wasn't a cousin. For him, it was like, oh, whoa, wait. This is what happens, like, nigga, when you start running your mouth around these type of people.
That's a fact. So immediately Chris goes on a Terminator mission trying to find John out of there. He didn't flew out. He said, Pokiat.
I ain't got nothing to do with this no more.
Yeah, John,
get I ever knew you, nigga.
I told you, he wiped the gun. He wiped himself of him. Like, that was it, bro.
Get I ever knew you, nigga.
Yeah, he leaned on the Italian part of himself and like, oh yeah, that's cool. And they got out of there. Like most rappers be doing when they go to the hood and they be like, yeah, I was in the hood, but they be out of there. Man, come on. Like, yeah. But did y'all get anything from like Chris going on this like scavenger hunt trying to find him real quick?
It's more the same. He out of his world. You don't know how to navigate this world. If that was somebody that, yeah, my bad.
No.
That was somebody in Jersey that owed you bread. You know exactly where to go, where to find them, where to look, who to ask.
Yeah, that's true.
The same way Amy was talking about, it's not that big of a deal to even have that in there. Like she didn't realize what kind of world he in. It's a
Right.
theme this entire episode.
Mhm.
Like you fish out of water.
That's true. We get a quick moment. Big P, first time, well, not first time, but first time we're seeing him having to wear a wire. He's getting himself ready. He's shaving. He's getting nervous, and which is kind of weird for our flashback later. It's kind of weird, but here, I guess it may not be. But here, we're getting this because it's like now they're putting the clamps on. It's like you got to get Tony, and I think he was feeling low for a moment, feeling like an errand boy until he got back close with AJ. He's like, oh, I'm still important to Tony. And I think it all came back to focus here. And he loses it to the point he gets so mad and he's about to go at his wife. And his wife was going crazy. Like, bro, you better open that bathroom. Like, she was not playing. And the son has to
insane. Like, bro, like, what was it, in a hotel room? They ain't got another bathroom?
They do, but she said that's the bathroom with the good lighting.
Man, wait 10 minutes till I get out of here then. Like, what the fuck is the problem, man?
Right. They already beefing. She don't care.
Yeah, because you ain't never here, bro. This man said, all right, that's good. Like, okay, cool. Like when she told her she was negative for cancer, he was like, all right, cool. Yeah. They ain't gonna come back with some roses with no words. Like, excuse me? Yeah. She hate this nigga.
It was a real tense. Yeah, it was a tense situation. Their whole house tense. Yeah, like
it was.
He went nuts. He losing it, man.
Definitely losing it. And of course they just kind of highlight that he had blood on his on his shirt or whatever from shaving. Then we get another person opening the newspaper. We're back to Amy. Amy's reading Variety. And she's all dressed up in a gray suit. Now she's all back corporate and everything. She's getting ready to, I guess, go on a business meeting. That's what I'm assuming here. Christopher finds her and he calls her stupid.
Hey, there's nothing I love more than Turns Up Chris.
Oh yes, the best.
And Chris is on one. Mm-hmm. His mind is made up about something. Spike up.
Oh
like
yeah,
that Chris.
I'm not
that
version around
of Chris
anymore.
Is hilarious.
Yeah, that's the best Chris because they know. Yeah,
I respect it, man. I
do respect it. I do because he wears his heart on the sleeve, and that's where he's at. They go back and forth, and then eventually he's like, I thought you liked me. I liked you and all that. And she was like, well, I think things are getting kind of William Inge here, which is an American playwright and novelist whose work typically features solitary protagonists encumbered with strained sexual relations. I had to look it up because I was like, what is this William Inge reference? But that was the William Inge reference. Then he calls her freaking D girl. And she's
what does a D girl mean in this sense?
Development
girl.
I got you.
Which
like is the low level movie rep person, got
you.
And that's why I say I don't think you're not no vice president. It's a mindset again. I think you're talking about you're taking a script from a mob guy who has no reach. He's not even made. You're not a vice president.
Maybe she don't know that though. She ain't in their world. She don't know about him being made, bro.
That's true. I mean,
that don't mean nothing to her.
Yeah, that's true.
He authentic. He gave an authentic feel. He ran the dude out the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? She thinking that he legit.
Oh, he
just like motherfucker would think that she was legit.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? They was both playing the same game.
Exactly. She just got over on him. Like, but yeah. So y'all both still believe she's vice president?
Yeah.
She probably sucks some dick to get right.
Definitely gave that neck up.
I think it was insinuated. Don't try to make me a misogynist out there, people. But yeah, it was insinuated that she worked for that position.
She stroked. Yeah, you see, like Mo says, it was dripping when she saw Chris take care of his business, man.
To quote Mo, the drip came.
to quote
Mo.
Hey, you know what else? Real quick, just a quick sideline, man. William Inge wrote "The Dark at the Top of the Stairs." And I just like that. I thought that was cool that they actually juxtaposed that with her on top of the stairwells looking down at Chris.
Nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That did. And I think that I was thinking that when I was watching it too, that kind of showed what they were trying to show her positioning towards him. Like she was in a higher position than him and talking down on him. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if they were trying to actually do something with that, but I did notice that. So that's a good pull, Rich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And it's like she keeps getting higher and higher as she goes up the stairs and he's stuck there. But yeah, nonetheless,
she's higher and higher.
Yeah.
What kind of monsters? That's one of my favorite Carmilla line.
Oh man, can you be a good Catholic for 5 minutes, bro?
what kind of monster?
Gosh, 15 minutes. I mean, sorry. We go over to just to kind of wrap this thing up to the last scene. We go over here. AJ's getting high in the garage at his own after party confirmation.
That's why I hate AJ.
Richie comes in. Richie's admiring this. I think Richie's starting to become a fan of Tony. Quiet as kept, but I mean, of course, he got somebody in his ear that make him feel otherwise. And Tony jabs him like, "Hey, the drinks over here. Like, hey, don't steal my silverware. It's accounted for." And you know, Carmela walks in on them. And he's getting high at his confirmation, and
I don't know if I would call Richie a fan more so it's envious.
Okay.
Looking at it like I ought to have this shit.
Yeah, I think that's a part of it.
Yeah.
What do you take from this, Rich? This scene right here.
I wonder who wrote that joint for him.
Right.
That was my first question. Like, dang, who wrote that joint?
One of them people right there with him definitely had the weed. You want to go smoke, AJ?
Yeah.
Go. So we can go right here in the garage. What?
Yeah, that's just the lack of self-awareness to just we're gonna go in the garage knowing that I got a house full of people at the confirmation. Like Bud stays with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's just that child naivety. Like Bud smell. When you walk back in there, everybody gonna be like you smelling like.
Everybody gonna know you bully.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even go outside. Y'all got a whole backyard with ducks and pools and all of this shit, bro. You sit in the garage with 3 of your friends, Indian style, smoking a joint. Like that would have pissed me off more so that you even had the weed. Like, bro, you couldn't think of no other place.
Yeah.
I could have smoked in the car.
Nah, that's real. That's real. But a few things just from this scene that I'll go through. Janice is openly going by Janice now.
Okay. That's what I was gonna point out too. Small, subtle things. And Pussy was like, "It's Janice now." Tony like, "Man, I don't."
I know we've been getting to it. Tony's never respected it, but he's getting to it. P, he's obviously asking questions about what's going on, but I think he has one of the best parts of the episode. His talk with AJ.
Yeah.
His realization in that, you know, talking about his pops being a stand-up guy, humanizing Tony. You know, this is not the Tony Soprano mob boss. This is 16-year-old Tony, man. My sister dying. Tony every single day with me. Like that's some loyalty. That's some real. And when you think about that, P has to have those moments where he looks back and like, damn, I'm really snitching on my mans. He just breaks down and starts crying.
And the reality in Chip face when he realized what he asking Pussy to do, as he hear him talking to Age, like, damn, man, this nigga, like, no wonder he's stringing me along. Like this is his motherfucker. Like this is his guy. It ain't just no mob shit. Like this is my man's.
They at that moment, Skip and P both knew he wasn't flipping.
Yeah, it wasn't.
There's no way he was giving them up.
Exactly. The look on Skip face, you can see like, oh man, this ain't gonna work.
And then obviously the ultimatum that Tony gives Chris is only Tony could. That was a big thing, a huge thing, because that's just the, you know, that moment is it kind of lines up Chris and P together. You know, what are you going to do? Like, every move you make, I expect you to show me that this is what you into. While he thinks P is doing that same thing, but he's actually doing the opposite. He's doing what Chris is doing, whether he wants to or not. It's I love this ending scene.
This was Chris out. Like throughout the whole series, this was it. Like Chris had a way out. Tony was like, I give you 10 minutes, bro. Like figure it the fuck out. And like very rarely I'm sure do people get the opportunity where you're like, I ain't gonna kill you. Hey, like it ain't no like blood in, blood out shit. If you want to walk out the fucking door right now, walk out of the door, and Kristen do it.
Yeah, and they that just great cinematography, just letting it marinate on that front porch of the Soprano house. It was just great.
And like Tony told him, now take the full 10 minutes.
The full time.
Like I don't even want to know right now.
Yeah, I need you to dedicate this few minutes to really think. So it's just a great scene, and a great call on Big P, like realizing that he's not going to snitch no matter what, which speaks to a sentiment later. But before we get out of here of this episode of D-Girl, we can't leave without some rankings. So first and foremost, Big Rich, brother man, what do you rank this episode? Is it made, a good earner, or just another envelope?
That's a great question, man. I'm gonna go just another envelope. Man, a lot of elements remind me of A Hit Is a Hit.
Yes.
Where it's kind of like that just transitional episode. I mean, there's so much said to the overall storyline, and it means so much to this series. It's It's a good earner. I'm tripping. It's a good earner.
It's a good
It's a
earner?
good earner. It's a good
Okay.
earner. Yeah, it is. It is. When I think about the Jon Favreau, everything that goes on, this defines Chris's character. And like I said, there's so many callbacks and call forwards in this episode alone.
Yeah.
Once we start getting into season 5, 6, there's moments we can look directly at this episode and say, remember this, remember this.
Directly ties into this.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's got to be a good earner. I enjoyed it too much for it to be just another upload.
Right. I piggyback right off of that. I enjoyed it a lot just to make it just another envelope. And the reason it's not made for me is it's not enough mob shit in it. Like we ventured to the outside world, which you can appreciate sometimes in this series, but we all know what we're here for. And that's the mob shit. And it wasn't enough of it in this episode, but it didn't take away from it to make it just another envelope. So I'm gonna go with good earner as well.
So it's a good earner too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. It's just another envelope for me. I like the episode, and it's hard because just another envelope is so vast, like all of them. But the Christopher-led stories are good, but I don't know if it's Michael Imperioli at the time or what it is. But it's not even Michael. No, nothing against Michael, but I think that Tony Soprano led stories, you feel the complexity probably because you're with him more. And so I like going through the complexity more of stories led by Tony than anybody. So it's not a bad episode. I feel like this is a hit done better, but to me, it's still just another envelope. Rich, who gets the Good Earner Award this episode?
Jon Favreau.
Okay.
Move in, move out. I got
Same.
everything I needed. I got these ideas. I got some real inspiration. I literally stole Chris ain't made, but I stole a mob dude's story about a made guy, and I'm gonna put it into my next screen. Wipe my hands clean of it. I'm on to the next. Pretty much the typical Hollywood story. He came through like a thief in the night. And I can't give it to anyone else just because Chris didn't all that Chris went through this episode, he didn't have anything to show for it at the end. Except for ending right back where he was supposed to be in the first place. So he actually came out ahead. I mean, he got a nut. That's pretty much it.
What say you, Spike Lou, man? Who gets a Good Earner Award from you?
Quick work, very efficient, not a lot of scene time. I got to go with Meadow. She bodied the kitchen scene. Like, let the parents know, like, look, bro, this is what y'all pay for. I also was able to kind of relate to AJ on a lower level too. So really quick work, but very efficient when she did come through and do it.
I'm gonna have to go with Amy, man. I think she worked the whole play, like from the gate.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, I don't like her. I still think she's a D girl, but I think that she killed it. And then, shouts out to the actress / musician. She did a great job for a one-off character. So I definitely say Amy got it off this episode.
That lady's a musician?
Yes. I think her name is Alicia Witt. So yes. Who get the Broken Balls Award? Rich.
I'm gonna go with Chris. Just because of what I said earlier. All of that just to end up right where you should have been in the first place.
Yeah.
Later seasons, we see Chris's love of movies and films and all that stuff continue to play on. But he had a real life or I don't want to say life or death. Yeah, it was life or death decision to make. Like either you're gonna be with it or you ain't. Get under that umbrella or you're gonna get rained on. So he had to really make that choice, and it was fun to have a little field trip. But that's what this episode was for me. It was a field trip for Chris.
Yes.
Now let's rope your ass back in and get back to it. So I just think that him having a dream, him having the dreams and the goals and the aspirations of doing something else than what he is. And having that deflated all within the span of an hour, that's demoralizing. That's broken balls.
It's facts. Who gets the broken balls from you, Spike?
AJ for me. What kind of animal? Because what kind of animal smokes marijuana?
A direct quote.
What kind of animal smokes marijuana at the what is it called? What is it called?
Confirmation.
Yeah, confirmation. What kind of animal? And I think it's 2 times I think she used that quote. I think later on.
What kind of animal?
Yeah, that's why when I said earlier about there's a direct callback to that line. Well, AJ says, I remember you called me an animal for smoking weed
Called
in
me
my
an
confirmation.
animal for smoking weed in my confirmation.
Most shows that
stuck
is a
with
moment
AJ.
that we never see. You know what I mean? They'll
Thanks.
they'll reference it as a conversation that we just never saw on camera. But we can actually go back as viewers and say,
And
"Oh,
see it.
that's that episode." Yeah,
That stuck with AJ, man. So I got to go with AJ, man. He was on some bullshit, which opened up a can of worms of bullshit throughout the rest of the series. We will see from here.
Yeah, I'll go Christopher. It's low hanging fruit, but it's just such a big L. Like it's just too crazy. Like she got the D off you. They got your script. They got your story. They got everything off you with no return. So I gotta give it to Christopher. And lastly, Spike Lou, what was your favorite moment of this episode?
Oh, AJ getting caught smoking the weed at his confirmation.
Double back.
I just like that whole, like, Tony come out, you can see it on his face, like, what the fuck is that smell? And then Carmela comes out and she like, oh, she was so offended. She didn't know what it was at all. And then they just sitting there Indian style. Like it was that was great.
Chilling, like
yeah. Like just nigga, I'm just smoking in the garage. Like it ain't not even a cigarette or nothing. We
like people ain't there for you
with a house full of people. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's out there has been caught smoking weed when you wasn't supposed to be smoking weed, but
oh man,
it's a funny moment, man.
It is, man. I remember my mom first called me. She was like, "What is that smell?" Like old people, you can't say shit. So offended. Yeah, you can't say. They be acting so offended. Like, what? Oh my god, what is that? Like, man, shut up, dude.
Yeah, you know what that is.
You know,
like, come on, you smelled it before.
Rich, what's your favorite moment of this episode, man?
Chris is the ongoing run throughout the episode of Chris shitting on swingers.
Oh, that was great.
That's just too good. Like it just got intensified, and then when you put it along with Jon Favreau's face and just how disgusted he was, like, damn, my man just gonna keep taking shots. Chris was just volunteering shots at his movie.
Yes.
Like, damn, bro, chill. You know what? Another thing about swingers, the acting.
Yeah,
that was my favorite moment throughout, man. And that, I guess, if I combine that with the hotel room scene,
yeah,
because Chris was just on one.
Oh man, like that's great because I'm about to wrap it here. That's my favorite scene. It's like the soft tar, ha ha. Like, bro, that is hilarious. Like, we never get another thing like that from Chris. He was so high.
He
bro.
was lit.
God,
yeah,
he was lit.
So
that was the Coke.
Yeah, that definitely was the Coke and a Sprite. But this is our episode of Good Earner Season 2, Episode 7, D Girl. If y'all want to find us, you can go on Instagram, GoodEarnerPod_ Sopranos. Y'all can hit us up there. We're on YouTube as well. Good Earners reviewing The Sopranos. Leave a comment there. Leave some likes. Share with your friends. Let this be your new favorite Soprano podcast. And also, y'all can email us if you're a little older. GoodEarnerPod@gmail.com. Don't forget. I said it wrong, but remember, don't forget about it.